Brilliant.
12.2. Analyze arithmetic sequences and series. Okay. Arithmetic. What does arithmetic mean? Math. Specifically, in this case, arithmetic is dealing with adding. Okay? So it's when you're adding a constant number. Okay? That constant number is often or is called the common difference, or D. Okay, so in the first part of this, they just want you to state, is it arithmetic yes or is it arithmetic no? Yes or no. That's all you have to state. So look, is there a common difference between each term? Yes, what is happening between each of these terms? Adding 6, right? Between each of these. So the answer is yes. It's arithmetic. Okay, go down to B. Check that one out. So here it was adding 4, and then all of a sudden it started. It's not the same. Okay, since it's not the same, the answer is no. Questions so far? All right, moving on. Okay, you know how yesterday we kind of had to figure out the formula where they had the common difference, we multiplied by that number? Well, there is an actual formula for arithmetic sequence, which you guys have on your formula sheet, but it's written here as well. Oops. Okay. This formula can help you find the nth term for any set of numbers. Okay? So you have a sub n. This D represents your what? Common difference. N represents the term number. So if, like I said, I wanted you to find the 20th term, for example, you could plug 20 in here and find the answer. Okay, and then a sub 1 is your first term. When you are trying to find your equation, you need to know your D value and your first term value. And then the rest of it will simplify to give you your formula. So if you look at this example right here, what is happening between each of these terms? Adding by 5. So that means my D value here is 5. My first term is what? 10. So what they've done is they've taken the formula right here, and they plugged in 5 for D, and they plugged in 10 for your first term. Then they distribute through. 5 times n is 5n. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Plus 10 at the end, and you simplify, and you get the equation for this sequence, which is 5n plus 5. Okay. So, are there questions? Do we get how this works? So we're just plugging in our D value in our first term, and then you simplify and you have your equation. So if I wanted to find the answer for the third term, we know the answer is 20, right? Let's check it out. 5 times 3 is
15.
plus 5 is 20, right? So it works. Okay, on example 2, they want us to write the nth term, so your equation, and then also find your 20th term. So, what were the two things I need in order to find my equation? Good, your D value and your first term, which is a sub 1. What is going on here between each of the terms? Subtracting 3, good. So my D term is negative 3. And then what is my first term? Very good. So we're going to use our formula. You can write it again if you want to. A sub n equals D times n minus 1 plus a sub 1. So I'm just going to fill in this information here. We have negative 3 parenthesis n minus 1 plus a negative 7, or you could just put minus 7. We're then going to simplify. So we're going to multiply negative 3 through here. So we get negative 3n. Negative 3 times negative 1 makes a positive 3, and then I still have a minus 7. And then we'll simplify, and I get a sub n equals negative 3n, and then 3 minus 7 is negative 4. So here's my formula. Here's my nth term. And then the second piece is that they wanted the answer for the 20th term. So all we do is write a sub 20 equals negative 3 times 20 minus 4. What's negative 3 times 20? And negative 60 minus 4 equals what? Good. So a sub 20, the 20th term, is negative 64. So those are my two answers. At the beginning, they asked us to find the 20th term. So that's where I got the 20 from. So if they'd asked for the 10th term, I would have plugged 10 in, right? Okay. Other questions? All right, you guys need to try B on your own. So you're going to do the same thing. And when you get your answer, raise your hand and I will come check it. I just have to find where I wrote the answer. Okay, so the answer should have been 9n plus 50 for your formula, and 230 was your 20th term. So real quick, the common difference is plus 9. So that means D equals 9. My first term is 59. When I plug it in, I have a sub n equals 9 times n minus 1 plus 59. We distribute the 9 through. We get 9n minus 9 plus 59, which makes my a sub n equal 9n plus 50 for my formula. Okay, then my 20th term, I'm just going to go 9 times 20 plus 50, 180 plus 50 makes 230 for my 20th term. Questions? Okay, moving on. This is where it's getting a little bit more complicated. So if you haven't been paying attention, you definitely want to pay attention now. Okay. So what were the two pieces of information I told you you needed in order to write the equation? You need D, and then you need your first term. Okay, so they told us that D is negative 7, but then they gave us our 11th term. We need our first term, right? So we're going to have to figure out what we can do in order to find the first term. So I'm going to rewrite our formula. A sub n equals D times n minus 1 plus a sub 1. Okay, this is telling me that my 11th term, the answer to the 11th term is negative 57. So what we can do is plug in all the information we have into here, and the only thing that's actually missing will be my a sub 1 term, and we can solve for it. So, in this spot right here, what am I going to put? Good. You're going to put your negative 57. You're going to put the answer to what the 11th term is. So negative 57 equals, what's next? Negative 7. And then instead of writing n, what do we write? 11 minus 1 plus a sub 1. Okay? So now we're going to simplify. I wouldn't distribute negative 7 through. We can go 11 minus 1, which makes 10. So now we have negative 57 equals, and negative 7 times 10 is what? Plus a sub 1. And then the last thing I would do is add 70 to both sides. Whenever you have a positive and a negative, you subtract, take the sign of the bigger number. So what does a sub 1 equal? 13 is correct. Okay, so now you can write your equation. So we're going to have a sub n equals what? Times n minus 1 plus 13. We simplify, we distribute, negative 7n plus 7 plus 13, which means that my nth term formula is what? Perfect. Okay, so we have our formula, and then we still need to find our 20th term. So finding my 20th term, I'm just going to go negative 7 times what? 20 plus 20. And negative 7 times 20 is negative 140 plus 20 makes, good. So my a sub 20 term, my 20th term is negative 120. Did I do that too fast? No. Are there questions? Okay. So on D now, they didn't give us a sub 1 or D. No. So this is getting even a little bit more complicated, but it's not that bad. Okay, so we have our formula, right? Our formula right here. Do we all agree? Yes? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in everything that I can into this formula and make an equation with my 7th term. Okay, so what would I write this as? Using this formula, but my 7th term. What would I put for a sub n? Nope. 26 equals, I don't know D, so I'm going to write D. Do I know what n is? Good. 7 minus 1. And then I don't know my first term, so I write a sub 1. Okay, then we're going to simplify this. Okay, so this simplifies to be what? 26 equals, and I know that 7 minus 1 is what? 6, so that'll make 6D plus a sub 1. Are we okay there? Yeah? All right, so then we're going to do an equation, because I have 2 variables I don't know, so if I have 2 equations with the same 2 variables, I can use systems of equations to solve, right? You guys with me? You know x and y, when we're solving for them, we're just solving for D and a sub 1. Okay, so what will be my second equation? 71 equals D times what this time? 16 minus 1 plus a sub 1. And then let's simplify that one. And what does that become? Okay, good job. Now, what do you think is going to be easier to eliminate? The a sub 1 or the D? A sub 1. Good. And what would I need to do in order to eliminate the a sub 1? Multiply by a negative. Good. In fact, I'm not even going to really do that. I'm just going to, well, I'm multiplying by a negative by putting a negative at each one of those terms. And we're going to add down. Negative 26 and 71 make what? Thank you. Positive 45 equals 9D. And then the a sub 1's cancel out. And then in order to finish solving this is a 9, sorry. What would I need to do to get the d by itself? Very good. Divide by 9 to both sides. And d equals 5. Okay. So now I need my a sub 1 still. What will I do to find a sub 1? Good. I'm going to plug it into this first one and not use the negatives because they're smaller numbers, but you can use whichever equation you want. So when I do that, I'm going to have 26 equals 6 times 5 plus a sub 1. Okay, so we get 26 equals 30 plus a sub 1. We subtract 30 to both sides, and I get negative 4 equals a sub 1. Okay, now what? You have to first find your formula and then do your 20th. Okay, I'm going to let you find your nth term and your 20th term on your own. Let me know when you get your answers. Oh my gosh, why is it so hot in here? Okay, I'll be right there. Okay, so your nth term should have been 5n minus 9, and your 20th term is 91. So, here we go. Let's go through this. A sub n equals 5 times n minus 1 plus a negative 4, or just minus 4. We distribute the 5 through, we get 5n minus 5 minus 4. Two negatives we add, and we get 5n minus 9. So my nth term is 5n minus 9. To find our 20th term now, we just go 5 times 20 minus 9, 100 minus 9, and you get 91 for your 20th term. So a couple of you messed up, but I think you just got messed up with negative 4 or something. Okay. Questions? Okay, who remembers from yesterday the difference between a sequence and a series? Okay, Cody.
A series is when you add up a lot of numbers.
Good. So a sequence is just like a sequence of numbers where you have commas in between each of the numbers, where a series is when you add them. Okay? So, if you have a finite series, if you have a finite series, finite means what? It ends. Okay? You can use this formula. Okay? This says S sub n equals n times a sub 1 plus a sub n all divided by 2. Now yesterday, remember you had to make up your whole sequence and then add them all together? So now you have a formula where you don't have to find every single number. You only need to know your first and your last. Okay? So the three things you need is n, your last term, okay? Your term number, like what n value it is. So we need to know n. We need to know the value for our first term. Do you guys know what my last term? These start at 1 and it's going to go all the way up to the 12th term. So that means I want to find a sub 12. Okay, and in fact, I forgot. I was going to have you write this. So this is your first term. This right here will be the last term. And this is your number of terms.
Is the number of terms the last term for the same?
No. Because n represents the number of terms. So example here, it starts at 1 and goes to 12, so there's 12 terms.
Yeah.
So n is 12. Your first term is when we plug 1 in here. So my a sub 1 is going to be 2 times 7 times 1. So that would be 2 plus 7, which will equal 9. So my first term is 9. My 12th term is when I plug 12 in. Right, Chris? So we're going to go 2 plus 7 times 12. What is 7 times 12?
84.
84, and we add them together and we get 86. So I have the 3 pieces of information that I need right here. So now we're going to take all that and use my formula in order to find the sum of this series. Okay. So you guys have the formula on your papers, okay? S sub n equals, what is my n value? 12 times my first term is 9 plus my last term is 86 divided by 2. 12 and 2 can reduce. 2 goes into 12 how many times? 6. So you can reduce like that. And then 9 plus 86 is 95 is correct. And 6 times 95 is 570. So if I were to add up that sequence together, I'd get 570 for my answer. Okay, on the second one, this is supposed to be an 18. Not exactly sure what happened there. So that should be an 18 on top. And that's a 6i. It's an I right here. And this is I equals 1 on the bottom. Okay, so same thing. We need n. We need our first term, and we need, but in this case, we're going to want our 18th term. Okay, what is my n value for this? Good, 18. How do I find the answer for the first term? Hope, are you getting this? How do we find the answer for the first term? Good, we're plugging in 1 for I. So my first term, we're going 14 minus 6 times 1. So 14 minus 6 equals 8. Okay, we do the same thing for my 18th term. 14 minus 6 times 18. 14 minus, what was 6 times 18?
84.
Or 108. And then 14 minus 108 is negative 94. Okay, so now find your sum for the sequence. I mean series. Sorry. Okay, so what did you guys get? Negative 774 is the correct answer. So it should have been S sub n equals 18 times 8 plus negative 94 divided by 2. 2 goes into 18 9 times. 8 plus negative 94 makes negative 86, and 9 times negative 86 gives you the answer of negative 774.